What's good, everybody? This is Dario Hunt from Movie My Phyllis, and I'm back with another reaction, this time to The Favorite, so let's talk about it. As I continue down my list of Best Picture nominees that I have not seen yet, that has brought me to the quasi-historical dramedy, The Favorite, so let's just get right into it. As always, there are some slight spoilers ahead, so you have been warned. This is one film that I had pegged early as a likely Best Picture contender, just from the trailer alone when it first dropped, I don't know, months ago, just because it had all the things that the Academy typically likes to reward in its movies. And just from the trailer, I could tell that there were probably some really strong performances from both Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz. So I was not surprised to see it get the nod for Best Picture, but I was still curious to see if it was actually worth the nomination or if it was just more falling in line with the typical nominees that they like to see. And my initial kind of reactions after finally giving this one a watch is that, yes, there are some predictably strong performances that lived up to kind of the hype that they had from the trailers. But the story was a bit of a slog to get through because, seeing as it is set in early 18th century, life was far more mundane and boring than you would suspect. And this one doesn't really try to embellish too much on the realities of life in that time period, particularly for royalty and nobles. It's kind of like a Shakespeare play or adaptation if you strip away all of the flourishes and embellishments, and it's tone down the violence just a bit and make the sexual encounters as gross as they are in real life. For me, one of the strongest things that the director was able to do in this movie was make the queen and the nobles and the rest of the royalty feel as normal and human as they actually were in real life. He doesn't sort of put them on a pedestal like a lot of movies try to do, but they are as gross and disgusting and unequipped to deal with most problems in life like the rest of us. In particular, the queen, who relies heavily on Rachel Weisz's character, who I can't for the life of me remember her name right now, but she is basically a grown child in charge of an entire country. And behind the scenes, behind all of the glamour that position, you think would hold, it is just a very sad sight. And to me, that is one of the best parts about it, is that he really grounds everything so that you can really make your way into the story. And the story really is a fairly basic one, where it is just all revolving around a basic love triangle, but between three women, which is obviously something that is not discussed much about during that time period, because I'm sure it is very much looked down upon at that time. But the dynamics between the three is brought to life extremely well, thanks to the three ladies who portray them. And in particular for me, Rachel Weisz was the strongest character out of everybody on here. Her and her back and forth with both the queen and with Emma Stone's character were the highlights of the movie. And much like a Shakespeare kind of play or adaptation, it is a story that is full of kind of social climbing and backstabbing and political maneuvering to basically take over power. And while those elements are involved in this movie, it is definitely more to the background compared to, these three's relationship between each other. And it is honestly not that interesting anyways, because what does happen is fairly predictable. And when it happens, there's not a whole lot of hoopla about it. It kind of just is what it is. And in fact, the entire movie kind of ends like that. It just is what it is. There is some sort of karmic justice towards the end of it, but it left me feeling very unsatisfied and felt like I just watched 2.5 hours of basically nothing. But in terms of set design and costume design and kind of world building, it does a absolutely fantastic job. You absolutely feel like you are right in the middle of the 18th century. Great character dynamics, great acting, great world building, great set design, great costume design, but shit story. So do I think it is worthy of all of the nominations that it's got? Because I want to say it has like 8 or 9 nominations, which was extremely surprising. And all 3 women got nominations for their roles in this movie. The movie itself, I would have to say no, because once again, it is a 2.5 hour movie of excess that, yes, it feels like you are in the middle of the 18th century, but it is not a very interesting watch outside of these three's interactions between each other. Now, do the characters deserve nods? I would have to say I do believe Rachel Weisz deserves a nod. I'm not entirely sure about the other two because while they were heavily involved in the movie, it did feel kind of like their parts were always minor compared to Rachel Weisz's when she was on screen. She kind of commanded the scene every time she was in it, and to me, she was the only one that was really deserving of a nomination. But for those of you that have seen the movie, what do you guys think about it? What do you guys think about all these nominations that it got? Do you think all three actors should have got a nomination? Do you think the movie itself should have been nominated for Best Picture? Do you think it was a bit too much of a slog? Did you enjoy it? Let me know in the comments down below. And be sure to head over to the official site where you can leave your own ratings and reactions for this movie, other movies, and everything else I react to over there on the site. If you have anything that you personally like me to react to, you can also let me know in the comments down below. And if you like any of the gear that I rock in these videos, like this or this, you can also head over to the site and grab some for yourself. As always, thank you guys for joining me. If you're liking these videos, please smash that like and subscribe button for me. I will be back shortly with more reactions. But until then, I will catch you guys soon. Peace.